We are aware of the pain that has been caused by the character letters that we wrote on behalf of Danny Masterson.
We support victims.
It's not because I think In the Crease is good, but because Josh told me Mila.
The road to marital bliss hasn't always run smoothly for Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. Kunis was disproportionately aged to Kutcher's 19 years old when they met on the set of That 70s Show back in 1998, an age difference that adds a retrospective ick factor to their constant on-screen makeouts. And while there may have been a spark of something by the time the show ended, both stars were busy following independent dating lives, including Kutcher's 8-year marriage to actress Demi Moore. All told, Ashton and Mila had known each other for 14 years before they finally began exploring a romantic relationship back in 2012. Since then, they've welcomed 2 offspring and have been admired as Hollywood's, power couple. But is their relationship as solid as it first appears? People grow and change, so hey, maybe the idea of once a cheater, always a cheater may not hold true. Still, cheating is a red flag that demands close attention in future relationships. For instance, matchmaker Susan Trombetti pointed at Ashton's history of infidelity as a persistent warning sign in his current marriage. She mentioned who can forget him cheating on Demi Moore on their anniversary. So Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore were married between 2005 to 2013, and according to Demi's memoir, he cheated on her at least twice. Whatever arrangements that he and Demi shared and agreed on prior didn't include that for sure, as evidenced by how physically devastated and hurt Demi was. Trombetti further pointed out that Kutcher even lied to other women entangled in his love triangle, assuring one falsely that he and Moore were separated. One of the most challenging parts of dating a celebrity is likely dealing with tabloid rumors, and this was definitely true for Ashton and Mila back in 2013 when gossip columnists began to wonder whether or not he was actually really being faithful to her. As Hollywood Life reported at the time, a woman named Sarah Leal claimed to have proof that Ashton was dating a friend of a friend. Apparently one of her co-workers sent her a photograph of Ashton in his PJs, and oof, it was an intimate photo, to say the least. In an interview, Leal contemplated the significance of the photograph in question. She said, sure, it could be an innocent picture, but I also think it's possible he's not dating Mila exclusively. Not just because of that photo, but because he's cheated before. And that would definitely be a red flag for me if I were dating someone who had cheated on their wife. I would hate for Mila to have the same experience as Demi. And although it's impossible to verify these allegations, it's worth noting that Leal's been previously honest with the press. In 2011, she told US Weekly that Kutcher had pursued her while he was still married to Demi Moore, which those claims were confirmed. But the real crux here is Ashton Kutcher's lack of trustworthiness and pattern of lying, both of which are bona fide relationship enders. Once again, going back to our matchmaking expert, how can we believe any relationship he has? It might be easier to swallow if Ashton had shown any signs of changing his ways or pursuing clear personal growth, but as has been observed, he rushed into things with Mila so soon after his divorce that there was definitely no time wasted in processing such behavior or changing as a person. Healthy relationships require mutual respect, which has been a fundamental component of this romance. As one celeb critic has pointed out, Ashton cites his admiration for Mila as the main point of falling in love with her and accelerating the relationship. And while that sounds like a good thing, the loss of that respect could pose a serious red flag. Losing respect and admiration for each other kind of erodes the bond and love for each other. And unfortunately, the couple's mutual admiration may be on its way down. In a 2021 appearance on Hot Ones, Mila slammed Ashton for comments made during his own appearance on the program. She first fact-checked his preparation for the role of Steve Jobs in Jobs, which involved extremely and unhealthy measures. She was like, yeah, he's downplaying it. He was so dumb. He only ate grapes at one point. It's so stupid. He ended up in the hospital twice with pancreatitis. It was really dumb. And well, honesty between sweethearts is refreshing. It's an awfully blunt way to talk about your hubby on camera. And that wasn't the end of raking Ashton over the coals. She called him a liar about getting rid of his That 70s Show wardrobe, shouting at Ashton as he waited off screen. Now sure, these comments were delivered with a smile, but even seemingly harmless jokes can be signs of problematic behavior or more deeply rooted relationship issues. So look, this romance kind of escaped any kind of criticism for a long time, despite the whole Demi love chaos kerfuffle. However, outrage did erupt over the couple's role in the trial of their former That 70s Show co-star Danny Masterson, putting a new spotlight on this couple and their life together. To make things brief and to be internet safe, folks, Danny was convicted of some pretty heinous crimes. He's been sentenced to 30 years in prison. That's all I can say. Mila and Ashton, among others, wrote letters of support for Masterson's character in hopes of lightening his sentence. And as one expert explained, This couple was united in writing their letter to the judge, trying to show leniency towards their friend. And when the letter became public, there was a large outcry and criticism of the couple. And then the two released an apology video. Now, copies of the video are still easy to find. We have a copy of it. But while issuing a quick apology seems like the right first step, expert critics point to the video as cloaking some deeper red flags here, because it did not seem to the experts that Mila was speaking from her heart on such a critical issue. There might be a rift in the couple's values and responses to crises. In the long run, such dissonance could create more severe lesions in the relationship. One person summed it up best, saying they need to be aware of being divided on issues that truly matter. For all couples, celebrity or otherwise, retaining some individuality and meaningful interests outside your relationship is kind of important. And unfortunately for Mila and Ashton, the fallout from their letters during this trial has also impacted their external sources of fulfillment. So following all the outrage, and rightfully so, both halves of the couple resigned from their positions in the organization that Ashton co-founded, literally to stop crimes of this nature, which is kind of a doozy for us to hear. It must have been a doozy for him. Apparently his position as board chair was truly significant to him, and a lot of people were concerned that Ashton lost something that gave his life meaning and purpose beyond acting or producing entertainment. And missing that crucial sense of purpose could put a strain on Ashton, and by proxy, this relationship. Possibly being lost without a rudder and a goal of passionate significance could cause any marriage to greatly suffer and be negatively affected. In other words, this couple might need to redirect their passion and fulfillment somewhere else, or risk long-term damage to their overall happiness. Meaning and purpose are the motivation to arise every day and live a fulfilling life, and without those cornerstones, it could spell trouble for happiness in this household. There's no shame in forming parasocial relationships with your favorite celebrities, but how well do you really know them? So, in wake of the whole trial, a lot of fans have had doubts about the authenticity of Ashton and Mila. Going back to our celebrity matchmaker from earlier, she shared some hints about public sentiment following the debacle and what it might indicate. Because for one thing, going back to that video apology, it's been controversial to say the least. It's a half-hearted attempt at an apology, and it had to be awful and devastating for any victims to see. It also just came across as self-serving, insincere, and it was really like, we're just trying to save our reputation, which is kind of a far cry from the image of the genuine sweethearts that the couple had previously cultivated, and naturally calls into question how much of their public life is reliable. A disconnect between public persona and personal life can be a huge relationship red flag, not to mention that such a visible fall from grace would put pressure on any couple, because being a hypocrite is just an example of how you can't trust who anybody really is. Actions speak louder than words. So, in other words, while it all may seem, good and fine and dandy from an outsider's perspective, we really don't know these guys or the true state of their relationship. So when it came time to film the 5th episode in season 1 of that 70s show, Mila was feeling nervous because she had already read the script and she knew she was gonna have to kiss somebody. But here's the problem. She was the youngest person in the cast. She had never been kissed. Ashton was a 19-year-old Calvin Klein model and an actor whose age made him much too old to be smooching somebody so young. Well, years later on the Rosie O'Donnell show, Ashton himself would admit, Mila was a certain age when they started the show, and everybody's like, okay, you guys are gonna be making out in this scene. And he's thinking like, wait, this is slightly illegal. Well, despite that, apparently Ashton attempted to French kiss Mila during the scene because Danny Masterson bet him $20 he wouldn't do it. So Mila mentioned that she had to close her mouth to prevent Ashton from slipping her the tongue. Just so gross. So gross. As far as first kisses go, this one showed no respect for Mila's feelings. It was just, ugh. And that's all for today, folks. See you next time.